What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to the Star Wars Exchange for a quick Mandalorian review. We'll do the full breakdown with spoilers and everything in a couple days once Mike's seen the movie a few times. No spoilers in this video. Mike's just seen it for the first time. I've watched it a couple times. We haven't even spoke about it yet. We're here ready to just hear each other's thoughts. So, Mike, what did you think of The Mandalorian and Grogu?
Listen, I came out singing a similar tune to when I came out of Solo Star Wars Story. That was a lot of fun. That's it. I had a lot of fun. There's some really cool details that you pick up on. There's some cool things to talk about. But overall, it's just I had a really good time, and it's exactly what I expected. A low stakes adventure. Actually, it was a little bit more I don't want to say character driven than I thought, but love the amount of times we got and development a little bit we got with Din and Grogu. That was really something special. And yeah, I'm happy we got to see it in the way that we saw it. And yeah, I had a really good time with it. And yeah, my brother and I just came out buzzing from it, and I was like, oh, I don't know how he's gonna react to that. And he was like, dude, I love this movie. So I had a really good time, and I just can't wait to see it again.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think I have a similar reaction to it. I have seen it a couple times now. I coming out, I felt the same way. I just had a great experience overall. Like, it was just a fun outing going to the movies. And I think after listening to a lot of the conversation online about this movie this last day, I gotta say, I feel like personally me, and it sounds like you as well, I just really had like expectations in check. At least for me, I already have got my frustrations out about the fact that this movie even exists. The fact that it's out, I still don't think it should exist. This is probably by far the worst Star Wars movie. In saying that, for what it is, I enjoy it, and this is what I expected going into it. And I think there's two separate conversations to be had here. There's one about the fact that should this be or should this not be a Star Wars movie, and that whole conversation in itself. And the answer to that question for me is still no. This should not be a Star Wars movie, but the story itself, just forgetting the medium, yes, I think when Star Wars movies come out, they should be these big cultural events. That's what it has been in the past, and that's been awesome. This has felt less so like that, even though I think that the marketing did ramp up pretty well in the last month or so. But the story itself, the movie for what it is, my personal expectations, I feel like were met. This is what I thought it would be. In saying that, upon rewatching it, I do have I have worries and concerns about the legacy of this movie. I'm not sure if it's going to be remembered really at all in a couple of years the same way, even like a Rogue One has been. But it's clearly they've been safe with it. But I think a clear goal with the movie was bring in a younger generation of fans. This is clearly like an 8 to 12-year-old kind of audience. It's bordering on a kid's movie, to be completely honest. But yeah, I think for what it is, I like it. It's fun, but yeah, it probably shouldn't exist.
Okay, well, there you go. I feel like I don't know. I feel opposite on that. Where, I mean, I don't know. I get in the habit of asking, like, okay, does a story need to be told? And it's something I asked myself during the movie, and I'm like, does this story really need to be told? But at the end of the day, it's like, sure, why not? I mean, they put out the Clone Wars movie. I mean, completely different, but they put the Clone Wars movie, and they're like, hey, we're gonna put a feature film together, and we're gonna scrap some episodes together. And honestly, some of this felt like, all right, felt like they scrapped some episodes together, and they're like, all right, let's compile it and do it that way. But I have to give props to John, Dave, and company, just because it's like this was like a completely Bob Iger thing, which he's not even the CEO of Disney anymore. This was Bob Iger coming in and being like, you know what, we need something out of the Kennedy house, and you guys need to give us something. We're thinking, Baby Yoda's popular, give us a Mandalorian movie. And you know what, John and company did the best they could, and it felt like a supersized Mando episode, but watching in IMAX, I mean, it just really made all the difference for me, because it felt and look like a Star Wars movie. And I just, again, there's things that I was just like, oh my God, this is awesome. And at the end, I'm like, yeah, I think the story did need to be told, whether it was in a movie format, if it was going to be a season long thing or something. I just had I had good fun with it, and this movie solidified my appreciation. I just finished rewatching the whole Mandalorian experience, the Mandoverse, except Ahsoka, and I'm just like, you know what, I have appreciation for this Mandoverse, like, and these guys set out to do a movie that you can watch without having any kind of um really too deep of a knowledge of Star Wars lore or of this show, that I feel like you can kind of just watch and understand the gist of it a little bit. And still, I love that they didn't just give you something completely random and different. It was like it did feel a continuation of after season 3 of The Mandalorian. I mean, it was all the kind of same set pieces, same set stories. So I was like, you know what? This feels again like we could have been watching this on Disney Plus in a season format, or just as in a feature length. And you know what? I'm not gonna up here and be like, you know what, this is what a Star Wars movie needs to be, because it's just like I feel people get landlocked into what highs and standards you need to hit, and I somewhat concur on some of those issues or details, but you know what, I love this movie for what it is, to be honest. Yeah, and I just overall had a good time. There was the beginning of it, the first half of it really freaking loved, and then the other half it just we kind of hit a down point. But again, other than that, I had a good experience with this, and I was like, I can't wait to watch this movie again. And I, on the other hand, feel like no, people are not going to be talking about this film like Rogue One, but I feel like it's going to be maybe treated like Solo almost, where it's like, oh yeah, that thing happened, all right, and then looking back, being like, you know what, there's some really cool things that this movie put forth, and I feel like we'll revisit those moments in years to come.
Yeah, no, potentially, and like I said, I'm in two minds of it. There's like, I don't think I'll ever get over the fact that I think this shouldn't be a movie, and like what you just said, the fact that this was a Bob Iger decision, that in itself shows why this should not be a movie. We should let creative people make creative decisions, and execs can go and make the business decisions and that. So, and this clearly was a business decision, I guess, because they were like, well, we need a Star Wars movie. This is the safest option we have. Yeah, like, but then on the other side, I'm like, you know what, for what it was, and I really like, I gotta say, my expectation, if I had high expectations of this film, I would have come out disappointed. I still wish it had a bit more, it wasn't as inconsequential and had a bit more substance, but like I said, for what it was, I came out with a smile on my face. Like I said in my reaction, like it felt like a bit of a Star Wars fever dream in kind of a good way. I was just like, well, okay, I can just turn my brain off with this movie for 2 hours and have a good time. And there's obviously that other side of me that's like, okay, well, I don't love this that this even exists. I wish we sort of came back to Star Wars with Starfighter in terms of in the theaters next year, but it is what it is. And to go on some more positives and specific to the movie, I gotta say, like, honest I've ever had with Grogu. I thought Grogu was just a standout in the film. I loved Rod of the Hutt. I loved the Ansellans. I thought like and all these all the CGI puppetry, all that. I thought it was actually really solid. Visually, I didn't think the movie looked fantastic and it like to the level of a Star Wars film should be. In saying that, it was definitely higher production value than the show. So yeah, like seeing it on IMAX as well. It was fun, but should we expect more from Star Wars movies? Probably, yeah.
Well, we can't really say that when Attack of the Clone exists. I'm just gonna put that there. This is by far better than Attack of the Clones. I'll put that.
That.
I know. I think so. And I'm sure people agree. But no, look, my audience that I was with ended up having a really great time with the movie, and even I don't even. When's the last Star Wars movie people applauded for? Maybe Force Awakens. Like people were applauding for this movie at the end, and I was like, cool, that was cool, that was fun. And my theater had a great time laughing at all the little quirky moments, or just being like the oohs and ahs, and it was a great audience to be amongst. Like I was like, okay, cool. Like I didn't know how the reception was going to be on a Thursday afternoon, but it ended up being encompassing, if you will. So yeah, I don't again, I had a good time with it. There's some things to think about. There's also some things that I'm just like, you know what, shrug of the shoulders. I'm just like, this movie set out to just put anybody, I feel like like you said, you couldn't be a kid watching this. You can, for me, I feel like my theater was so diverse. There was like a whole bunch of older people that I'm like, oh my god, they look like they're in their 40s, 50s, and I heard them cracking up and having a good time. And yeah, I just had a overall encompassing experience where I just felt myself during the movie, um, being in their shoes, being like, I wonder what these people think, without ever watching like the Clone Wars movie or having not seen any season of The Mandalorian. Yeah, it was just I just had a good time.
Yeah, no, for sure. And like, look, at the end of the day, I think whether you love Star Wars or you're indifferent about Star Wars, like this will be a good movie to go to with your family, take your kids, all that sort of stuff. So, yeah, it achieves certain things, not so much others for me. But yeah, Mike, out of 10, what would you put a rating on this film? I know you've only seen it just now for the first time, but your initial reaction, what is it out of 10?
Probably give it a solid 8 right now.
Wow, 8. That's extremely high. Wow.
I don't think 8 is high. 9 would be high, but 8 is just like just above good, I think.
Okay, fair enough. I'd go 5.5. It's like slightly above average, but doesn't do a whole lot besides has a bit of fun. Like I said, on maybe my initial reaction would have been close to a 6.5, but after watching again, I'm like, I'm uncertain of how it's going to stack up over time, but we will see. And we will be back tomorrow to do a full breakdown, spoiler discussion, all that stuff. Or tomorrow, maybe in a couple of days, we'll see how we go. But tune in for that. Until then, follow Mike at all_Star Wars on Instagram and me at Star Wars_Exchange. We will see you then. May the Force be with you.